Hey, Middle-earth role-playing fans, Roman Daisel back from the Man Cave. Today we're going to be looking at the next Middle-earth adventure book called The Necromancer's Lieutenant. This is 8113 of the series, released in 1990. Unfortunately, the cover art is not by Agnes McBride. It is by another artist, not my favorite artwork. I bought this way back, probably from Imperial Hobbies in 1990-91, somewhere around there, and only paid probably $6.50 plus taxes. The sticker's still on there. But anyway, let's dive in and look at it. Back to the table we go. So first thing about this book is, you see the cover art. It's kind of cartoonish. It's not your Agnes McBride. Just barely see the sticker. I only paid six something for this book. It was on sale. Back cover doesn't really have much. It just gives you a small map telling you where the adventure is going to be. It's in Dol Guldur, and a brief description. The inside cover has nothing, which kind of sucks. I always like the maps on inside covers of these things. Table of contents, design notes, guidelines. Now these player character charts, the 18 they give you, you might want to use a few of these. These adventures are a little harder. So right away it goes into adventuring in southern Mirkwood. A description of danger among the trees, lost and found, and foraging in Mirkwood. The thing with Mirkwood is it's such a dense forest. Many people have probably been lost on their way through. Gotten lost. So you might find the odd bit of treasure here and there. Or items that might be useful. If you had a metal detector, that'd be great. But it won't help in this day and age. Food and water will be a big deal when adventuring in Mirkwood because there is not a lot of food. Squirrels don't taste good. Neither do raccoons or possums. You might be able to get a deer, but because it's so densely forested, there's not many deer roaming the interior. Mainly they hang out on the edges. Same with bears, and if you do see a bear, stay away because it might be a Bjorning and it would definitely chew your ass out. Water will be hard because the trees are so tall and the vegetation is so thick. By the time rainwater falls and hits the ground, there's not much left of it. And you might find the odd hidden pool or spring. But again, especially when you get close to the elves, you're not going to like that. Because they enchant these things. Obviously, you're not going to try and eat the spiders. Though you could eat things like ants and stuff if you got the stomach for it. If you're in season, you're going to find nuts and berries, depending on what season it is. But again, berries, I'd be careful because who knows what could be poisonous. So those are the things with Mirkwood. You have to have your own supplies, and you have to be well stocked. Like the dwarves in Bilbo, when they went through the forest, they quickly ran out of food and water, even though they were conserving it. Now we go right into the first adventure, a matter of trade. So you're sitting at a place called Bur Aligra, which is in the East Bight. It's a Northman town. And you're sitting there listening to a bard's tale at an inn. So this bard is Barathel the Bard. He's an Arthadanian. He gets your blood going with tales of all his adventures and stuff. Now he might join your party or might not. It's entirely up to the game master and how well you roll and if you want him. But the main thing is a guy named Frankren who needs some help guarding his merchant train across Mirkwood Forest. So he has a map of a trail from Burliger all the way to Bur-Woodefirus, which is the Woodmen Town. It passes pretty close to Dol Guldur. This is also a 1641 adventure, like most of these books are. And Dol Guldur is not quite as powerful as yet. It's still trying to keep itself hidden. It's not really the watchful piece, but it's a growing shadow. Sauron's only been activated for 600 years at this point, and is slowly gaining power. So Frankren is trying to find guards to protect his pack train and a load of fine iron weapons and grain to the Woodmen Town. So the idea is you join the merchant and guard his caravan. That's where it all starts. So it gives a description of the bard of the inn and plus the merchant, and also the merchant's drover gold staff. So you got an extra guy there. I'm not going into a lot of detail of these guys. Windlore is another NPC you can use. He is supposed to be the scout for the Woodmen at Woodmen Town and keeps an eye on the trail, but unfortunately he got taken prisoner. So you can, if you happen to, you find him, try and free him, it'd be great. If not, oh well. Then we got the main antagonist in this little adventure, Zyrtak the Orc. He's the Lord of the Orcs of the Flame, an Orc captain and personal assistant to Scaril, who we'll get to later. Zyrtak and his merry band of orcs, they wiped out a woodman family at Brugathram, which is a little hamlet, I guess. I don't know what anyone's doing that far into Dol Guldur. Because you can decide where you want to set this up on the trail, whether it be on the eastern side of Mirkwood, the central part, or the western side of that trail. But near Brugathram, Zyrtak and 11 of his orcs have set an ambush for the caravan. So over here you see the ambush site. All the X's represent orcs. Zyrtak is a Z. And they have ropes stretched out across the trail to make it look like webs, so for spiders. So there's an ambush. So as a party, if you have scouts ahead, they're going to make perception rolls and try and avoid the ambush, or become or ambush the ambushers. So Zyrtak's orcs prefer to take prisoners rather than killing the PCs, as this throws them a higher bounty. If things are going badly for them, they will retreat to Brugathram. So depending on what happens here, how many adventurers you have, if any of the orcs get away, you can follow them to Brugathram, which is a well, rose tree hedge entrance and a main house. So there's the Brugathram. And if you're lucky, if you go to that Brugathram and wipe out all the orcs, you might find Windlore, because he's in number 7. So he's trapped in the bottom of a storage pit. If you find him, that'd be great. The woodmen would be extremely happy. So the task, obviously, you're to guard the merchant. Starting the players, Bur Allegra, which is in the middle of nowhere. A's, you got the map, plus you got gold staff strength. Obstacles, obviously orcs. And the rewards. Franklin is willing to pay 30 silver pieces a person, as well as whatever you can find from the orcs themselves. Encounters, rose trees. There's going to be a lot of them blocking your way. We all know the roses are prickly. You could throw in some wolves. The ambush itself. And you can also throw in a couple of spiders too. It depends on you. So right away, this first adventure is pretty solid. It's a pretty solid starter adventure. One that can be done by a low level party. Then you go up to the second adventure. A Tale of Traffic of the Men Burzum. So you're ambushing orcs this time. This time you find out from a messenger that there is a special relic that the Witch King found, and he's sending back to Dol Guldur on a tithing train. A tithing train is where you all the tribute from people you control, send it back to you. So the Necromancer is getting his money that way. The Witch King will send any useful tidbits, and the orcs of the Misty Mountains and Mirkwood will send whatever they find. There's orcs who are traveling who are going to bring this back. So it goes right away into NPCs. You get this guy named Arkulager, who's a elf from Thranduil's kingdom. He is currently being held in an orcish stronghold, waiting his turn for Kamul to talk to him. Thinking that this guy, who is a noble, will have information about Thranduil's kingdom. Brag the Bjorning, who if you want can join you, because there's treasure for everyone. Then you have Bolkapur, the fighting Uruk-hai commander of the tribute train sent from Agmar to Dol Guldur. You have another one who is a prisoner, Skodurith, who thought he could steal from orcs as they were stupid, but he got caught, and he probably would betray you given the chance, depending what he is. And then you have Kutzbarg, who is the captain of the watch post on the flanks of Dol Guldur. So Walufa, who is a position of the Althan of Woodmen Town and the Sarthiel clan. So he's one to give you aid. He's not going to join you. So this is interesting. You got the caravan of Bolkapur. So he's going to come through the forest. It depends where you want to ambush him. Preferably close to the Woodmen Town. And Bolkapar's men are carrying 10 chests. And each chest has various things. The first one having 3,500 tin pieces, which are pretty much useless. The last one has number 10 is food and drink, suitable only for orcs. And I like how it gives a description of how Dol Gulbur's caravan is. He's got scouts up ahead, 50 feet ahead. He has 4 of those, all orcs. Each chest is being carried by a slave, the SL. Now they have orcs as O and Uruks as U. Dol Guldur is in the middle of the train, and they're walking down the path. So you choose your ambush site. Now, if you don't wipe out all the orcs, Dol Guldur and 2 other Urukai will break away from the caravan if it is strongly attacked. They will carry the relic they call the Ergil with them and head for Dol Guldur. Now this is where you can, once you finish up with the caravan, you can decide, hey, do I want to chase these guys? And being good adventurers, you do. Though of course you risk the losing what you've captured. But of course you want to do that. When you chase, so this side has all the chase things. Gives you the map. A is you're chasing this guy, Dol Guldur, all the way down to the Orc guard post. So at point A, you're going to come across giant spiders. B is a milk white trumpet, which is a deadly plant-like tree, or whatever it is. And it'll mildly poison you with its aroma. Not something you want to brush against or inhale too much. You want to get through that area quickly. C again is enterlings, which are small giant spiders, like baby ones, but there are hundreds of them. And then D is a simple bow trap attached to a rope across the trail. So you got 4 possible adventures on this chase. So if you go through all that and get to the outpost, it's a pretty cool looking outpost. You can use this anywhere in the middle of realm. You got a cave entrance, entry room, barracks, secret doors, armories, mess halls. The usual stuff. Waste chutes, kitchens, pantries, guest chambers, pit, and prisons. So the prisons, if you get to the prisons, you can try and rescue the Elven Prince, Arculagar, Royal Gold, Red Brilliance. Prison C, Cell C has the Skodereth. And Prison D is inhabited by an orc, Gulgoth, who Dol Guldur fell asleep on watch at the entrance. If free, Dol Guldur will attempt to escape from the party and warn the rest of the complex. He is due to be released in 2 days. So you don't want to release the orc. You have a hall of the guardians, doors, traps, throne room. So to go through this whole thing is an adventure in itself. Task starting the player, so you get to Woodmen Town. You get to Woodmen Town for Anchorman pays you. You have nothing else better to do because you're in Woodmen Town. What are you going to do? Head back where you came from? Basically, this is where you want to use some of those NPCs, maybe a couple of them. Or definitely and get the Bjorning. Aids, obstacles, rewards. The rewards are great. The Orc Caravan and the Chase. The Outpost and the Orc Patrol. So the encounters, you got the Orc Caravan, the Chase, the Outpost, and if you want, the GM can put an Orc Patrol in there. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong and a lot of things that can go right. Now, as far as an adventure goes, this is actually a very solid adventure. Me and my friends played this one. We did the ambush, and then we went into this one. And I tell you, they enjoyed it. These 2 adventures back to back, really very much enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun to play. Now, section 6 is the 3rd adventure, Scoril's Army, an assault on the Elves. So the plotting of Scoril. It tells you the Scoril's backstory a little bit and what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to make an attack on Thranduil just to keep him off guard and see how powerful Thranduil's response is. So it's kind of like a massive raid. And it's to keep many of Sauron's enemies off balance. Keep them guessing where he's going to strike next. Put pressure. That way the Wood-Elves can't cause any problems on the northern frontier of the Iron Mountains and the supply routes for Angmar. So there's an elf who's going to take word to the... So you get wind of this. So if you do the 2nd adventure, then you know that Dol Guldur was carrying a scroll but a map of the location of Scaril's caverns. The probable starting point of his army. With this information, the woodmen can better warn the elves. So again, you have to do a perception roll, when you kill Bolkabar, you have to roll his body and see what he's got on. And you'll find this stuff. And he'll tell you everything. So the elf in Woodmen Town will gladly go up and tell Thranduil. Meanwhile, Walufa can send 30 troops to aid the elves, but the woodmen too are scattered, so they will barely arrive before Scarl's forces. So this is, again, you want to use those NPC characters. Give you as many guys as possible. You'll get some healing herbs from the woodmen. So it goes right up into the NPCs. The NPCs, the first one is Gardag, who is in the employ of Scarl, but will easily kill him if given the chance. Give Helen, the young elf warrior, who's going to take the message from the woodman to Thranduil. Natak is a orc from Dol Guldur. Penamith is Scarl's assistant, leader of his bandits, a gun. And then Scarl the Conjurer himself and his backstory. So he's an Easterling. The setting, it's going to give you the Pata Arathrind, which is Thranduil's halls. So Scarl's armies will be moving from his lair to, again, rose trees. You get spiders, the river Gulduin. So remember, the river Gulduin is also enchanted by the elves. So if you touch or try and drink from its waters, you'll fall into an enchanted sleep. Arathrend is the capital of Thranduil's kingdom, and of course Woodmen Town. So you have Scarl's line of march. Scarl is there, and he is going to march up to here, along the trail. Now, the deployment of Scarl's army, this is where it gets interesting. There are 5 types of units. He has a bridge crew of 20 men on horseback to race to the Gulduin, secure the far bank, and build a bridge for his army to cross the river. It's led by a ranger, supported by a 4th level evil animus and 3rd level scouts. The rest of the army consists of 14 1st level warriors. Unfortunately, they're on horseback and will have a head start. It'll be hard to catch them. Then you have road clearing crews. So there are 10 units composed of 1 man, 2 wargs, and 10 orcs. So the man is to oversee the other 2, and the wargs are there to help keep an eye on things. There are 10 of these crews, and each road crew eliminated will slow the army's pace by a half mile per day. Scarl will replace the first 5 road crews removed by the PCs at equal strength. If these are removed, he will use double strength crews. If 3 of the double strength crews are defeated, the main army will just push forward without trying to clear the road. This will slow them down by 5 miles per day. So you want to try and get rid of those guys. Scouting parties. These 8 groups travel in front and to either side of the infantry, each group led by Uruk and 4 wargs and 4 tracking orcs. That would be another thing you want to get rid of. How are you going to get through to the road crews if you can't kill the scouting parties? Then there are foraging parties. 8 parties foraging on either side of the army to gather food and water. Each party consists of 4 men, 6 orcs, and 2 wargs. So food and supplies are going to be a hard thing for Scarl. It can only carry so much. I think it's like 13 days, it says in here. So they have enough food and water for 12 days. Then it gives it the army's route. Scarl's main army is D1, the bridge crew is D2, and the courier and elf army are D3. So it's a race against time. The infantry and elite warriors. Scarl's main force marches into 2 abreast down the forest path. 350 orcs commanded by 10 Urukai. And then Scarl's retinue of animus, mages, and rangers and scouts. And then finally 150 manish warriors. So it's not exactly a huge army. And then it gives you an idea of what the bridge crew, the order of it. It has scouts at the front and back, and then warrior on horseback, animist on horseback, and then the commander on horseback. So the task is to try and intercept the army and decide what you want to do. Do you want to try and hit the bridge crew, go after the scouts, the foragers, or the road clearing crew? It's roughly an army about 600 to 700 strong, depending. The obstacles are you have to survive the forest too yourself, and then you have to decide what you want to do. This is where you need those NPCs. The rewards, obviously, they give you some cheesy rewards here, but I'm pretty sure that you can find much more. Encounters, you got to locate the army, so you're going to need lots of perception rolls to stay out of the way and also to locate and also stay out of the way. It gives Scarl's main army a marching formation, so you see the foragers are up here in the Fs. You got your scouts, orcs, camp clearing, scouts, and foragers, all neatly marked out. Scarl's army at rest. Each O represents 5 orcs. Each U represents 10 Uruk-hai. ME represents 10 men, with SE 3 human sergeants. Penamith, Scarl are PNS. A is 10 animus. M is 12 mages. R is 8 rangers. 11. Any SCs you find are 11 scouts. And then a PA is a patrol of 5 orcs. And then W is 5 wolves. So it's spread out. I like how this military layout is really cool. And it gives a more detailed description of the bridge crew, the road crew, the scouting parties, the foraging parties, and the main force. 8 spiders might be there. The river itself. And everything depends on if the messenger got to Thranduil, whether Thranduil will be on the other side. If Thranduil is on the other side waiting, Scarl will leave some of his force there to pin Thranduil down and try and outflank him at another crossing. Now, if everything goes well and Scarl's army is defeated, he will try and escape. This is the last adventure, Adventure 4. And of course, Thranduil will want you to go chase him. NPCs, you got Clementin, who's in prison, I think. And more of these guys in prisons. Jassala, an Easterling princess. And finally, the setting of Scarl's caverns. You got a bear cave, guard post, armory, door, barracks. So there'll be a large force still in the caverns itself. The prisons, where you can find Clementin, and all sorts of other fun stuff. Gives a description of his caverns. So the idea is to clear out this hole. Bedroom, treasury, bath, parlor, okay. It's going to give you the tasks, the obstacles, the rewards, the encounters in the cave. This last adventure is the weakest of the 4 adventures, I think. I think number 3 was the best. 1, 2, and 3 were great adventures to go through. 4 is just, I don't know, 4 was, it's interesting going through the caverns, but it was not as good as the other adventures. The other 3 were solid adventures. You had some items of note, like the Urgil, a Kergora box, Guardians of the Path, and some other stuff. Yeah, Master Beast table, the Master NPC table. So next we come to the Master Military table, which is different than all the others from the Ready to Run adventures. And then it gives you a full one. So you get a better layout of Scarl's army. Go to the Master Herd table, which you might want. And it also gives you the results of the Battle of Guldur. So they have a table. Calculate the results of the battle with the following formula, then look up the results. Total level of Scarl's main army plus morale of Scarl's army. Total levels of elves and total levels of woodmen equals combat score. So if it's a combat score of 550 plus, absolute victory for Scarl, all elves between the Forest River and Guldur killed. Or minus 350 to 450, token losses to the elves and all of Scarl's forces are destroyed in an attempt at river crossing. So it does give you an idea of what can be done. And you can use this table for future battles. Though I don't recommend that. Prices in Bur Aligra and Bur Wudufiris. The encounter table. And then you also have a morale table. So Scarl's forces at the beginning have a morale of 300. And then it'll give you what happens. So if a bridge crew is destroyed, it's minus 10. For each successful raid or trap affecting the main force, minus 10. So if you kill a bridge crew, for each leader killed, NPC is minus 5. For each PC killed is plus 5. For each PC captured is plus 10. So the morale can be affected by what you do. How well you guys, the adventurers, play. And then finally we get just a price listing. They were only charging $6 for these things back in the day. I know I bought Ghost of Southern Dune for $80. Sea of Ruin, probably $8. Canadian prices. But this one was only $6, so it must have been one of the earliest ones I bought. But there we have it. Alright, away from the board and back up here. So this book was really cool. This was probably the best adventure book in this set that I've seen. The adventures were really solid and fun to play with. I played this book with a group of guys in university, and we did the first ambush, where the orcs ambush us, and went from there. We traveled to the second adventure, which was the tithing trade, where we ambushed the orcs, and that was really went over well. And then finally we did the actual army battle. We didn't go so much into the fourth adventure. We just didn't have time. But we did the first three. And they were very enjoyable, easy to play. Gave different elements from the other standard adventure books. I think Mages of the Dark Mage of Rudar would be the closest thing to that one. So I definitely recommend this book for any adventures. Just because of it was so different from most of the others you get. But anyway, all you Middle-earth role-playing fans, let me know if you guys had this adventure module and what you think. And leave comments in the comments section. Hit the bell button for any new videos that come out. And until next time, this has been Roman Daysel. I am out of here.